think you're just going through it, and then all of a sudden you're there and you're like, oh my god, my world is falling apart. What is going on? And everything just sort of collapses from there. Hey everyone, this is Haelphon. Today we're going to be breaking down my new song, The Author. Part 1, the background. This is very obviously a breakup song. It focuses less on the past relationship and more on the unanswered questions and sort of the lack of closure that usually comes when something like this falls apart. So whether it's romantic for you, or it's just a family falling out, or you and your friend get in a massive fight, suddenly this person is ripped out of your life and you're trying to sit there and wonder what the sort of importance that you had to each other was. The theme is written in the context specifically of a character who was written out in a sitcom. I think of Joey from Friends when he was written out of Days of Our Lives, just killed off because he said some dumb shit, but that was basically the inspiration for the song. My character could never be seen or heard from again. For me, that unknown was something that was really difficult to deal with. I am notoriously an overthinker, so for me, this was sort of like my stream of consciousness going through this particular situation. I'm gonna have these 10,000 thoughts that come into my head, and the author is the best sort of context to present it. Part 2, the process. I had spent a lot of time trying to write multiple songs that were compartmentalizing how I was feeling. I went through a bunch of electronic style tracks, and I was like, this isn't really the vibe that I'm going for. At the time I was listening to a lot of acoustic and piano, just so sort of slow, mellow, shower in your feels playlists. Lewis Capaldi in particular was one of them that was huge, and so just going through what I liked from these songs, I knew that I had to start off with something mellow and sort of somber that got you into just the right mindset. So for me, that was starting off with just a piano line. I got the piano line done, and then I had the guitar line done quickly after that, just for the acoustics. The drum line came in, then the Hawaiian slide and the electric at the end. I had about half the song completed for about 6 months. I didn't know how to continue it, but eventually I got that sort of middle bridge and then just continued it out. Part 3, the lyrics. I had 2 different versions of the track when I began. I had an original set of lyrics which kind of got the message across. This is the first time that I ever actually went through and rewrote a song almost completely. I took pieces from the original version and I moved those over to the second version, and I had basically half the song written in about an hour. But again, I didn't have an instrumental that was done for another 6 months, and I had run out of ideas as to what to write. It took a lot of rows to get there, but eventually they merged, and I knew that I had what I was trying to say. I was being super perfectionist about this track as I was working on it, because the context of the track meant so much to me that I knew that it had to be perfect before it hit release. Also, this is the first song that I've written that doesn't actually feature any of the lyrics in the title. It's just the author. For me, I want to say this is the title, these are the lyrics, you can interpret them as you want. Basically like an English class, except much easier to sit through. My favorite line from the entire track is the "Will you write me in or set our scenes aside?" because that is basically the most cohesive way to explain the theme. Basically the author is about 2 writers who break up, and it's a creative garbage fire told from sort of that novel, bad, sitcom, literary type setting. In terms of the style of the lyrics, the whole song is basically written in a stream of consciousness. It was my goal to not repeat anything as much as I could. There's only one line that gets repeated, and that's the "I can't help but skate the edges, asking if you'll kill me off in silence," because that's just to hammer that particular point home. If you think about it as something that's like a script or a novel, whatever it is, a written work, usually there's not a lot of repetition. You may have repetition in theme, but you're not going to have something like a verse appear 7 times and the person saying the same line, unless it's an inside joke, something like that, whatever, it's all conditional. But it was super important for me to just keep on going with the song. You can say these lines that are heavy, and you don't have to repeat them because they just have so much depth going on with them. Part 4, the artwork. For me, given the context of the song and just the sort of emotional connection I had with it, I wanted something that was going to stand out for album artwork. That's an extra piece that a lot of artists sometimes overlook in terms of just adding this extra layer to your song. So I hit up my friend Brenna, who find her on Instagram under Fresh Cantaloupes. I was really looking for something in the dark romanticism sort of vibe, so the Nathaniel Hawthorne's, the Edgar Allan Poe's, the Emily Dickinson's, that sort of era of literature, because there's sort of like an aesthetic that comes with it, and I wanted that to be how the work was presented as a whole. The first version of the artwork came back, and it was me sitting at the desk and just this incredible text that she had done that just said "the author" in bold, but it felt like it needed something. And we decided on putting the silhouette of the second author in the background of just the cover art. So Brenna absolutely killed it. She had her kind of looking back too, And so it just built this entire vibe around what the theme was. Because again, we're talking about two people, we're not talking about one person. Using artists to tell more of the story just really rounds out the experience. I just think adds such an extra layer of depth to the music itself. If you're still here, thanks for watching. I'm hoping to do more of these for songs I've written in the past and the songs that I have coming out in the future. You can find everything that I've done on Spotify, iTunes, AppleMusic, Deezer, Tidal, whatever your go-to streaming service is, it's probably there. My name is Haelphon, and I appreciate you joining me for the breakdown of my song, The Author.